Should the Tennessee Volunteers have hired Greg Schiano as their football coach 3 years ago? Hi, everybody. I'm Marky Bilson, and in a single word, no, they shouldn't have. Jersey guy in East Tennessee was just not gonna work. However, it should be stated the reasons given for Schiano not to be hired are absolutely hypocritical when you consider what's gone on with the Tennessee football program under Jeremy Pruitt and before even. Look, if you don't know, when Butch Jones was fired 3 years ago as Tennessee's football coach, then AD John Currie, supposedly on the recommendation of booster Jimmy Haslam, wanted to bring in Greg Schiano as the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. Schiano had coached in the NFL with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a couple of years. He also had led Rutgers to their greatest prosperity as a, let's say, major college football program. Now, Vol Nation reacted very negatively to this. They went on Twitter when it was leaked this was going to be the hire, and basically the social media reaction halted the Schiano hire. Ultimately, it cost the athletic director, John Currie, his job. He was replaced by Phil Fulmer, and of course, Jeremy Pruitt was hired as the head football coach. The reason that everyone goes saying that Schiano was not worthy of the Tennessee head football coaching job is because Mike McQueary alleged that Schiano knew of Jerry Sandusky's child molestation at Penn State way back in the 90s when Schiano was an assistant coach for the Nittany Lions under Joe Paterno. Now, this has never been proven, but of course, McQueary is the whistleblower of the entire Sandusky scandal. Now, that's fine. I mean, I know that, well, we just don't want to take a risk. I get that. But it's not the least bit true that that's why Schiano isn't the head football coach at Tennessee. The reason why Volunteers fans said they didn't want Schiano is quite simply they thought they could do better. And Schiano was from Ohio State. Well, at that point, he was the defensive coordinator there. And a DC from a Big Ten school. So instead, they get a DC from an SEC school, and they reject a coach who was 4 years off the NFL for one who was 11 years off of high school. Look, you want proof of this? Look at Tennessee in recent years. Look at Tennessee under Jeremy Pruitt. If you were holding Jeremy Pruitt to the same standards that Schiano was held to, Pruitt would not be the head football coach at Tennessee. Kenneth George is currently on the team as defensive back. He pled guilty to the felony of battery to a police officer. How about Bryce Thompson last year? Reinstated to the program just 1 month after threatening to shoot up the school in a domestic dispute. When Jeremy Banks was arrested at a traffic stop last year, Jeremy Pruitt wanted to know what the big deal was that he was being arrested. He had failed to appear in court. I mean, come on here. These are some serious crimes. But the one that takes the case, and admittedly it is before Pruitt was hired as head coach, or is it? It shows really that the idea of alleged knowledge of child molestation, that isn't why Schiano is not the head coach at Tennessee. Case in point, Leonard Little. Still such a revered figure in Knoxville that fans were recently clamoring on social media for his return to Tennessee as an assistant coach. The man has been convicted of manslaughter. What's more, his manslaughter came during an incident where he was drinking and driving. 4 years later, Little was arrested for DWI. Didn't seem like he learned his lesson. So don't tell me, Vols fans, that you didn't want Schiano because of ethics. Don't tell me that at all. It simply isn't true. And the fact that so many unethical people have been accepted by the Tennessee fan base makes a mockery of that claim. Now, by the way, Schiano just won his first game as Rutgers head coach and a 21-game losing streak in the Big Ten for the Scarlet Knights. The dismissed athletic director, John Curry, he's now the AD at Wake Forest, just hired former assistant basketball coach at Tennessee, Steve Forbes, is his own head coach. On top of that, the Demon Deacons are 3-2 on the gridiron and a 10.5-point favorite this week against Syracuse. Meanwhile, under Jeremy Pruitt, the Vols are 2-3 and going nowhere. If you want honest commentary of the Tennessee Volunteers and sports in general, especially in East Tennessee, I'm Marky Bilson. I ask that you follow me on YouTube and Medium and Parler. You'll be able to find me there. And until next time, see ya.